Hello everyone, welcome to Bruno's Geek Reviews. So this is the video where I'll review the movies I saw in Fantasia in 2013, the movie festival in Montreal. So just FYI, for next year, well for this year rather, 2014, I'll actually do a short video per movie that I see, but for this one let's put them all together because it's already kind of late, so let's do one single video. So the first movie, Bounty Killer. This is basically kind of like Mad Max with a sense of humor. Like the movie itself. What if instead of being bleak and depressing, it had like a sense of humor and was fun despite the bleakness? So the characters were really cool, and you basically have like bounty hunters are called bounty killers in this post-apocalyptic world, and they're basically celebrities, and it's really a fun movie, good action, fun characters. Next, we have Return to Nukem High. This is actually directed by Lloyd Kaufman, the creator of Toxic Avenger. So it's a trauma movie, trauma film, anyway. And basically just like this high school where there's like mutants, violent mutants, and you have kind of like a lot of exploitation. There's violence, gore, you have nudity, crass humor. I liked it. It's part 1, by the way. It was part 1. There's a part 2. Either it came out or it's coming out. I have to check up on that. But by the way, when we were online to see that movie, actually the director, Lloyd Kaufman, walked by us, because we had a line outside, of people waiting, and filming us, and that was really cool. So I took out my cell phone, took some quick pictures. He actually like smiled for one, because he saw me taking a picture. That was really cool of him. There was a Q&A with him and his team afterwards, people of who worked in the movie and everything. And I actually asked him about the his appearance in an episode of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and he told me that James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, was going to be in part 2 of Return to Nukem High. So, and I did post it on my Tumblr, and it got really few notes, like almost no one knows that post. And I think I'm the first one to mention online that James Rolfe was going to be in Return to Nukem High Volume 2, but of course, I have a small blog, not a lot of followers, so no one noticed. But I'm pretty sure I'm the first one who mentioned it online. So yeah, but I really liked it. Afterwards, Cottage Country. This is like a dark humor comedy, like just like bad luck and accidental murder, I guess you could call it. It stars Tyler Labine from from Reaper, the TV series, and from the movie Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which was awesome. And Tyler Labine is an actor I really enjoy. He has a really good sense of comedy in his acting. The movie was a little bit uneven, where sometimes it felt like it tried to be more realistic, and other times it was more like a wacky humor, dark humor. I don't know, like depending on the scenes, it felt like you were watching different movies, but there's still some very fun ideas, fun scenes, and the actor makes it worth it. Then we had Ip Man: The Final Fight. That movie had no business being in Fantasia. I'm sorry. It was just... It's typical kung fu movie. And there's a lot of martial arts movies in Fantasia every year, and that's awesome. But the movies that are in Fantasia are usually because they have like insanely good fight choreographies, or maybe it's because there's a really well-known actor in the movie, and it's the first time we'll see it in North America, or but in this case, like Ip Man: The Final Fight did not belong in Fantasia. The fight scenes were okay. The final fight in question was not built up, and like the villain shows up way too late, and like I was bored at times. I felt like it was just like, since the Donnie Yen movie was very popular and was in Fantasia, I feel like this movie was there just because it had Ip Man in the title. It did not belong in Fantasia. It was just like normal kung fu movie. Then afterwards we have Blackout. It's basically what if Guy Ritchie, what if you fuse Guy Ritchie and Hangover in a single movie, but instead of like being like a comedy, it's like more of it's a comedy, but like more of a crime comedy movie. And yeah, I guess some people could say that was a Hangover Part 3, but that one sucked. So Blackout was awesome. It's basically, the guy who wakes up doesn't remember what happened last night, and he's in deep trouble because he's an ex-criminal, and he did some stuff, and there's a lot of other criminals that are pissed at him now, so it's really cool. Then you have Big Ass Spider. It's the actor is the cop from Heroes, the TV show, who has to fight a big ass spider. with this genuinely funny comic relief sidekick, which is very rare. Usually they're just annoying. In this movie, he was actually funny. There's not much to say. It's a comedy about a guy fighting a giant spider. Well, loved it. Then you have Zombie Hunter. That was, I don't know, zombie apocalypse, and you have Danny Trejo fighting this giant zombie, which was cool, even though the effects for the zombie were really poorly made. Which is fine, you don't go into that movie expecting to see, like, James Cameron special effects. However, even though I enjoyed it, even though it was fun, like a fun zombie movie, and I know the movie might have done it on purpose, whereas, for example, the anti-hero character is such a stereotype of the tough guy, where it's taken to a point of it's ridiculous, but it's done on purpose, obviously. But I feel like I'm tired of horror movies where you know exactly who's going to get killed and who's going to survive. And in this movie, it's not much of a spoiler, really. You have a shy girl, the shy girl, and then you have the slutty girl. And it's really a slut-shaming thing where we're supposed to kind of like laugh at the slut who's like going for a hero, even though the shy girl also wants to bone him, so she's just being a hypocrite and a passive-aggressive woman. And of course, the slut-shamed woman is the one who gets killed. And I'm kind of tired of those stereotypes, I guess. Maybe that's why I like Kevin Fever so much, because it played with that. And, I don't know. Because I'm just tired of being like, oh, that's someone getting killed. Other than that, I did enjoy it, but yeah, there was that. And I know it might have been done on purpose, because they were playing with the stereotypes, like, kind of like, instead of like doing the opposite, they were just taking them to 11, so maybe that was it. I don't know. Then we have Hell Baby, about like this couple who moves into a haunted house and the pregnant woman gets possessed. And you know what? This movie, again, much like Cottage Country, was very uneven depending on the scenes. One thing that bothered me with the movie was, I heard actually when we were coming out of the movie, like someone was like, sometimes they were trying too hard. I'm like, yeah. Because, for example, there's a few running jokes in this movie where, you know how running jokes usually to work, they have to build up to something, or every time they come up, there's a different twist for them. But in this movie, in Hell Baby, the running jokes are just, we'll repeat the same joke again through the movie. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. However, this movie had two characters I loved. Two Italian exorcists that were so funny. The actors just, I don't know, like, I love those characters. I love the movie thanks to them. So I do recommend the movie. And there's a lot of really good scenes, but again, very uneven depending on the scene. It feels like you're watching a different movie. But the Italian exorcists really make the movie worth it. Afterwards, you have... Oh, that's from 2012, actually. No, what's done there? Lesson of the Evil from Takashi Miike. I don't know how you pronounce his name exactly, but... basically, it's about this serial killer teacher. And I did like the movie. Very good writing, very interesting characters, very, very thrilling conclusion. However, I mean, like, the final, like, moments of the movie. However, what I did dislike is the sequel. It's not much of a spoiler. It's more of a warning. There's a huge sequel bait at the end that comes out of nowhere, or even the characters kind of talk in sequel bait talk, and it feels out of place, and it feels like he could have done a sequel if he wanted, but then he should have just, like, finished this movie, made it a whole, and not done a kind of, like, to be continued thing. Just, like, finish the movie and then do a sequel if you want. Afterwards, Zero Charisma. I really like this movie. It's about this socially awkward person who's a game master. It's about role players. And as you know, if you watch my videos or if you look behind me, you have some idea of what they look like. I'm a huge role-playing fan. Like, I'm a role player. I love role-playing games. Tabletop, I think it's actually one of the geeky things. It has, like, this kind of, like, stereotype of being, like, one of the most, like, geeky, awkward things you can do as a geek. Whereas I find it's actually one of the most social geek hobbies there are out there. So, which is funny in my head. So, it's funny to me, because it really doesn't fit. Like, why is it one of the most geeky things to do, like in a negative sense for some people, whereas it's one of those where you actually gather up with people and socialize. But anyway, this movie, Zero Charisma, I really liked it. It feels like, how in a lot of comedies you have this really awkward guy, this, like, socially inept guy who appears in a scene and you laugh at him, and then the movie continues with the cool guys. Or what if instead of doing that, like the movie stays with that guy, with that awkward, socially inept guy, and you see him through the movie, and it's not really. I wouldn't even call Zero Charisma a comedy. I would call it kind of like a movie about role players, if you will. But it's like, yeah, this guy is socially awkward, but you do see why. And it's not cheesy. It just makes sense, and you feel bad for him a lot of times. Like it feels like a lot of moments. If you were to just do like you could cut this movie so you just laugh at him, but instead you kind of see where he comes from and you feel for him. And I really do recommend the movie, but actually not as a comedy. I wouldn't recommend it as a comedy at all, because yeah, like I said, what if the movie followed that guy you were supposed to just laugh at in one scene and saw what his life is? And there's a lot of things that happen where, as a role player, as a geek, you do realize, yeah, I remember that happening to me, something similar. I don't know, like, so yeah, I do recommend it. Next we have Frankenstein's Army, which was really disappointing, and I really disliked it. Basically, is it's a found footage movie, but it's totally wasted, in the sense that it shouldn't have been a found footage movie, because it has some really cool monster designs, and you have like Nazi Frankenstein monsters, but it's a found footage movie, so basically it's like, hey, look at this awesome monster concept and how well it's made, because they made it really well, like the visuals are amazing. You like it? You think it looks cool? You want to see that monster like F up some people? Well, no, because it's a found footage movie, so let's run around, shake the camera so you don't see squat, and then we'll just like aim the camera at the wall and shake it while you hear all the cool stuff going on off screen, and then we'll like show you again afterwards. So it was really well made, really cool monsters, and they were all wasted because of how they chose to do a movie. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a backhanded compliment in the sense that the reason why I'm so frustrated at this movie is because it could have been so much cooler. I would have loved it if it had been a normal movie, not like a let's shake the camera like idiots movie. Yeah, because it would have been really good. I'm not kidding. Like the monster designs were awesome and well made. Anyway, and the story in itself was good. If it hadn't been, anyway, The Machine. Finally, this is an artificial intelligence movie, and it's basically it looks like it had a way bigger budget than it actually had. Really well made, and at the beginning of the movie you see some things where it shows that the director actually went to talk to some people who work in artificial intelligence in real life. And it just sets up a really, really interesting characters, a really interesting world, and things that happen and how it works. And then at the end there's a lot of cool action, so what's not to love? So yeah, that's basically it. The movies I went to see in Fantasia in 2013, and you can be sure I'll be there for 2014 and see as many movies as I can, that my schedule will allow. So thanks for watching.